Is Cristiano Ronaldo letting Portugal down at the 2026 World Cup? Look, it's a really tough question to even ask out loud, but after that opening match, we kinda have to face it. Portugal came into this World Cup with massive expectations. They looked like one of the strongest teams on paper, full of stars from the biggest clubs in Europe. And then that game against DR Congo happened. It left a lot of us feeling uneasy. While other global superstars are stepping up big time and delivering exactly what their countries need, Ronaldo's performance has people talking. Fans, pundits, even some of the loyal supporters who have backed him through everything. It's not about hating on the guy. It's about what we're seeing right now on the pitch. Let's start with the other big forwards who are lighting up the tournament from the very first game. Take Kylian Mbappé. The French superstar didn't waste any time. In France's opener, he exploded with 2 goals, showing off that blistering pace that leaves defenders in the dust and the kind of clinical finishing that makes him a total nightmare to play against. He's not just scoring, he's dragging a young, transitioning French team forward, looking like the complete package. Then you've got Erling Haaland for Norway. The big Norwegian machine bagged a brace too, reminding everyone why he's feared all over the world. Pure power, great movement, and that finishing instinct. Harry Kane did something similar for England. As captain, he led from the front with 2 goals, linking play, dropping deep when needed, and carrying the 3 Lions' hopes on his shoulders. These aren't one-off moments. These players are taking responsibility when it matters most. And then there's Lionel Messi. You can't really talk about Ronaldo without bringing up the eternal debate, right? The GOAT conversation always comes up. In Argentina's opener against Algeria, Messi put on an absolute masterclass. He scored a hat-trick, 1 goal got ruled offside controversially, but officially it was 3 goals that powered a convincing win. At almost 39 years old, he equaled Miroslav Klose's record as the all-time top scorer in World Cup history with 16 goals. He became the oldest player ever to score a hat-trick at the World Cup. On top of that, he's adding to his crazy list of records for most international goal contributions, most hat-tricks for a country, and more. Messi isn't just playing well, he's creating magic, involving his teammates and leading the defending champions like it's nothing. Even in what should be the twilight of his career, he's elevating the whole team. That's the level people expect from the true greats on this stage. It's clinical, it's smart, and it's inspiring. Now flip it over to Ronaldo. At 41, he's fully shifted into that out-and-out center forward role. No more debates about being played out wide or drifting around. This is it. He's the No. 9, the focal point, the guy supposed to lead the line and put the ball in the net. Against DR Congo, a team that hadn't appeared in the World Cup for more than 50 years and had never even scored a goal in the competition before, he blanked. 0 goals. Not a single shot on target. Portugal were expected to cruise, but they only managed a 1-1 draw. João Neves gave them an early lead with a nice strike, but then João Neves popped up late and equalized for the underdogs. It was a historic point for DR Congo and a massive wake-up call for Portugal. Ronaldo played the full 90 minutes, looked frustrated at times, took 3 shots all off target, and just couldn't make the difference. This result puts Portugal in a tricky spot in their group. They're going to need strong performances against tougher sides like Uzbekistan and Colombia to make sure they progress comfortably. A slip-up like this early on can make the whole group stage feel like walking on eggshells. One more bad result, and suddenly the pressure becomes insane. What makes this even harder to swallow is the quality of the squad around Ronaldo. This isn't some weak team depending on one hero. Portugal probably have one of the strongest, most complete rosters in the entire 2026 tournament. The depth is ridiculous. In midfield, you've got Vitinha and João Neves, basically PSG's dynamic duo, bringing energy, creativity, and control. Bruno Fernandes, who just won Premier League Player of the Year in 2026, is pulling the strings with his vision, passing range, and set-piece delivery. Bernardo Silva, still one of the smartest players around, and heading to Real Madrid after his time at Manchester City, adds intelligence and work rate. On the wings, Pedro Neto has been shining for Chelsea with his direct running and wit. Nuno Mendes is widely seen as the best left-back in the world right now. At the back, Ruben Dias brings leadership and solidity, Diogo Costa is reliable in goal, and there are attackers like Rafael Leon who can change a game in a moment. This squad is packed with Premier League stars, Champions League winners, and players hitting their prime. Roberto Martinez has options everywhere, tactical flexibility, balance, and real quality from front to back. Portugal dominated their qualifying campaign, scoring plenty of goals and looking like genuine contenders. They came into the tournament as UEFA Nations League champions. On paper, they have everything needed to go deep, maybe even challenge for the title if things click. And yet, with all that talent supporting him, Ronaldo was quiet in front of goal. It's not just one bad day, it feels like part of a bigger trend at this stage of his career. His World Cup goal tally across previous tournaments sits at 8. There have been memorable moments like that hat-trick against Spain in 2018, but he's chasing more records, including becoming Portugal's all-time top scorer at World Cups ahead of legends like Eusebio. At 41, Father Time is undefeated. The physical demands of modern football, the high press, the tactical sophistication, the intense schedule are catching up. The explosiveness that defined his prime isn't as sharp as it once was. Fans have been quick to defend him, and they make fair points. Ronaldo is still an incredible athlete, a fitness freak who looks after his body better than almost anyone. His mentality is second to none. The drive, the hunger, the leadership. He scored in 5 different World Cups, which is a record by itself. He's Portugal's all-time leading scorer by a huge margin, a cultural icon who has elevated the national team for nearly 2 decades. Without him, Portugal might not have reached the semi-finals in 2006, the quarters in 2022, or won the Euros in 2016. His legacy is rock solid. Nobody is taking that away. But football is ruthless and focused on the present. Nations need production when it matters. The draw against DR Congo showed some vulnerabilities, too much reliance on individual moments, possible tensions in the dressing room with younger players wanting more freedom to express themselves, and questions about whether Ronaldo's captaincy is still the perfect fit for a squad built for now and the future. Opponents know exactly how to play against him, double team, crowd him out, force him into areas where he's less effective. DR Congo parked the bus after the equalizer, and Portugal, despite dominating possession, struggled to break them down. You see the difference when you look at the other stars. Mbappé isn't just scoring. He's terrorizing entire defenses with his speed, linking up play, and carrying that new generation swagger. Haaland's physicality and finishing feel almost unfair at times. He's a constant threat even when tightly marked. Kane combines leadership, creativity, and clinical finishing like a veteran who understands every part of the game. Messi mixes genius with efficiency, dropping deep to create while still popping up in the box to finish. Ronaldo used to do versions of all that in his prime. Explosive runs, powerful shots from distance, dominating in the air. Those traits won him multiple Ballon d'Or, Champions League records, and heroics for Portugal. But the game has evolved. Teams defend deeper, use data and video analysis heavily, and rotate players to stay fresh. Portugal's style under Martinez focuses on midfield control and attacking from the wide areas, which should suit Ronaldo. Yet the chances aren't quite converting like they used to. Social media has been brutal since the game. Clips of Ronaldo's missed opportunities are everywhere, often placed right next to highlights of Messi's celebrations or Mbappe's sprints. Pundits are already debating whether Martinez should consider benching him for fresher options like Gonçalo Ramos or Diogo Jota in some games. But the manager has stuck by his captain so far, talking about experience and leadership, especially in knockout rounds where big game mentality counts. Is that loyalty smart, or could it be holding the team back? Ronaldo's presence definitely motivates the squad, but his reduced mobility sometimes slows down quick transitions. Tactically, there's more to unpack. Portugal dominated large parts of the DR Congo game, but lacked that cutting edge. They need better movement off the ball, quicker combinations, and more players arriving in the box. Ronaldo's link-up play was never his strongest suit compared to someone like Messi, and that difference feels more obvious now. He's bulked up and become more of a poacher in recent years, which worked at club level in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere, but international football at a World Cup is a different beast. Looking at the bigger picture, Portugal's best ever World Cup finish is third place back in 1966, with Eusebio leading the way. Ronaldo has already done so much to improve that legacy. Expectations were sky high after a strong qualifying run, with many tipping them as dark horses or even serious contenders. A result like the DR Congo draw makes every remaining point feel vital. The group stage path suddenly looks more dangerous. Wins are still expected, but against better opposition, the lack of a consistently clinical number 9 could become a real problem. Ronaldo's off-field success with his CR7 brand, commercials, and global influence is massive. He's built an empire while playing at the highest level. But on the pitch in 2026, the story is shifting from unstoppable force to veteran fighter pushing against the limits. You can compare it to other aging greats. Zlatan Ibrahimovic kept producing into his late 30s through sheer force of will and smart positioning. Messi adapted by becoming more of a playmaker-finisher hybrid. Ronaldo has tried to evolve too, but the raw athleticism that made him terrifying is harder to maintain at 41. The squad has all the tools, midfield maestros who can create chances, dynamic fullbacks who bomb forward, clinical wingers who stretch the play. They just need that final piece to click consistently. If Ronaldo starts finding the net soon, the whole team can relax and play with confidence. If not, the calls for rotation will only get louder as the tournament goes on. In the end, Cristiano Ronaldo is in a really difficult position right now. The other superstars are living up to the hype, carrying their teams with goals and performances that match the occasion. Messi is out there rewriting records at an age when most players have hung up their boots. Portugal have one of the best prepared, most talented squads they've ever had. Yet their captain went missing in a game they were supposed to win comfortably. Defending him is getting tougher by the minute, even for his biggest fans. This isn't about erasing his incredible career. The records, the dedication, the moments of pure genius that inspired millions of kids around the world. Ronaldo is a legend, full stop. His impact on football and on Portugal goes way beyond stats, but the sport is unforgiving and focused on what happens today. For Portugal to make a deep run in 2026, they need Ronaldo to answer the doubters with goals, or the team has to find a way to evolve beyond depending so heavily on him. The clock is ticking, the spotlight is harsh, and this disappointment narrative is picking up steam fast. Can CR7 turn it around one more time and give us another magical chapter? He's done it before against the odds. The whole football world will be watching closely to see what happens next. Portugal's hopes might depend on it.